Most men think winning a woman's interest comes from doing more, sending more texts, giving more compliments, being more available. They believe the harder they chase, the closer they get. But in reality, constantly giving more is the fastest way to become predictable, ordinary, and forgettable. What actually separates a man from the rest isn't how much he gives, it's how much he's willing to withhold. The most powerful move you can make is to take your attention away. In today's world, women are surrounded by men who trip over themselves to impress. Every time she posts a photo, there's a swarm of likes. Every time she opens her messages, there's a queue of men waiting to say good morning. That constant flow of validation becomes background noise. It doesn't excite her. It doesn't make her think. It just confirms what she already knows, that she can have male attention anytime she wants. This is why pulling back hits so hard. You instantly separate yourself from the crowd. While other men are desperate to prove themselves, you're calm, composed, and not in a hurry. You're not chasing, you're not checking in every hour, and you're not bending your day around her availability. That quiet self-control forces her to notice the difference. She feels your absence because it's unusual. The important part is where it comes from. Weak men ignore a woman to punish her, or to try and provoke a reaction. Strong men ignore it because they're focused on something bigger. They're busy building their bodies, their minds, their businesses, their lives. When you live like that, you don't have to pretend to be scarce, you are scarce. Your attention has weight because you don't hand it out freely. And that, in her world of endless, easy attention, makes you rare. And rare is valuable. Asterisk women today live in a constant loop of validation. Every day they're surrounded by media likes, comments, DMS, men at work complimenting them, exes checking in, strangers flirting in public. For most attractive women, this is their normal. It's not exciting, it's expected. This constant attention creates a mental script. Men notice them. Men reach out first. Men make them feel desired without them having to put in much effort. The pattern is predictable, and because it's predictable, it doesn't spark much curiosity or real attraction. When you break that pattern, everything changes. Your silence cuts through the noise. You're not just another voice in the crowd. You're the missing voice she starts to notice. At first, it's just a small thought. Why hasn't he reached out? But that question grows the longer. You hold your ground. She's used to men falling into the rhythm she's set. You don't. That disruption forces her to pay attention in a way she doesn't with most men. The key is your intent. Weak men use silence to punish, to play a game, or to provoke jealousy. That's not power, that's insecurity. True strength comes when you're not ignoring her to get a reaction, but because you're genuinely occupied with your own life. You're working, training, building, spending time with people who matter. She isn't your priority in that moment, and she can feel the difference. This space you create is where desire lives. Desire doesn't grow in constant contact. It grows in absence, in the wondering, in the gaps where the imagination takes over. When she doesn't know what you're doing or where your attention is, she starts picturing it. Those mental images, those little scenarios she builds in her head, can make her think about you far more than any text you could send. Asterisk, most men spend their time chasing, thinking it's the only way to keep a woman's interest. They send follow-up messages when she doesn't respond, rearrange their schedules to fit hers, and they're quick to reassure her of their feelings. The problem is, chasing hands her all the control. She decides when to reply, how much effort to give, and whether you get rewarded with her attention at all. Over time, this imbalance kills attraction because she never has to work for you. You've made yourself too easy to get. When you stop chasing, you flip that dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one wondering how to get your attention. She starts replaying past interactions, thinking about what she said, how she acted, and whether she made the wrong impression. She begins to ask herself why your interest seems uncertain, and that uncertainty is what makes her want to close the gap. This is the moment where the hunter becomes the hunted. The beauty of this shift is that it's not about playing tricks. You're not holding back to manipulate her, simply living by a higher standard. Your time and attention have value, and you won't give them to someone who isn't matching your energy. That's rare in a dating culture where most men hand over their focus for free. But there's one condition for this to work. You must be fine if she walks away. If you're secretly waiting for her to chase you so you can drop everything for her again, you're still trapped in her frame. Detachment has to be real. Whether she comes closer or drifts off, you continue moving forward. That self-sufficiency is what makes you stand out. It shows you're a man who chooses women, not a man waiting to be chosen. Asterisk, once a woman realizes she can't easily pull you in, something shifts in her behavior. At first, she might try small things to get your attention, liking your posts, sending short texts, or casually mentioning something that could spark a conversation. If that doesn't work, the efforts become more obvious. She may start dressing differently when she knows she'll see you, laughing louder around you, or posting pictures designed to spark curiosity. These moves aren't random, they're subtle. Signals that she's feeling the absence of your attention and is trying to pull it back. This is when her emotions enter a loop. She misses you, wonders about you, gets frustrated that you're not reacting, then tries again. The cycle repeats, and with each round, her investment grows. You become unpredictable. She can't read you, can't guess your next move. That unpredictability is addictive because it's so different from the predictable attention she gets from most men. The danger here is breaking the very dynamic that created her attraction. The moment you respond with too much eagerness, the mystery disappears. And she goes back to feeling secure that you're available whenever she wants. The goal isn't to give her nothing, it's to give her just enough to keep her guessing. Short replies, occasional unexpected messages, or a delayed response keep the fire alive without handing her all the control. Think of it like feeding a flame. Too much fuel at once smothers it, too little and it dies. The balance is what keeps her hooked. By maintaining that balance, you make her work for your time and attention. The more she works for it, the more emotionally attached she becomes. At this stage, her chase is no longer just about interest, it's about proving to herself that she can win you over. Asterisk. Ignoring a woman from a place of strength isn't just a short-term strategy to make her curious, it's a statement about who you are as a man. You're showing her from the very beginning that your time, energy, and attention are not things she can demand at will. They must be earned. This principle doesn't just make you more attractive in the early stages. It sets the tone for the entire dynamic moving forward. When a woman learns early that you won't be pulled around by her moods, games, or attention-seeking, she knows that taking you for granted is the fastest way to lose you. This doesn't mean you're cold or unfeeling. It means you operate with standards. You're not going to sacrifice your dignity, self-respect, or priorities just to keep someone around. That stability is rare, and women respect it more than they will ever openly admit. You may not like the feeling of not being in complete control, but they are drawn to it because it signals strength and leadership. Long-term, this approach keeps the relationship balanced. She knows that if she wants your attention, she has to contribute effort, respect, and consistency. That mutual investment is what prevents the slow erosion of attraction that happens when one person chases and the other simply receives by keeping your focus on your own life, goals, and self-improvement. You remain the man she was drawn to in the first place. The real power lies in your willingness to walk away without fear. When you can do that, you remove the leverage that most women unconsciously hold over men. You're no longer trying to keep her. You're deciding if she's worth keeping. That shift in mindset turns the entire relationship into one built on respect, desire, and choice, not dependency.